Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Everyone just about finished their lunch now, I think. If not, eat up. Do come in and take a seat if you're around the CSO zone now. We're just about to start the next panel discussion entitled Football for Good, a stunning partnership platform. Yeah, I'm still getting over lunch myself. I'm delighted to welcome two guests to the stage today. Firstly, to my far left, Jane Carter, the founder of Coaching for Hope. And nearest to me, Adam Osper, the Director of Financial Planning for Tilney Best Invest. That's correct, right? Yeah. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the stage. So to kick things off, I just wanted to, I'm sure many people around, especially this area, have heard of the charity Coaching for Hope. So we'll come on to a bit more about what you do, Jane, a bit later on. But to start with, we're here to talk about a new awards that you're launching. So I wanted to ask you firstly, tell us more. Why are you creating these awards, and what are they all about?
Okay, well, this year it's Coaching for Hope's 10th anniversary, and we thought we wanted to do an event which celebrated that, but also looked at the sector as a whole. And obviously we're part of a worldwide movement of organisations and community groups and NGOs that use football as a vehicle for a whole range of social benefits, whether that's health, whether that's education, whether that's conflict resolution. There's a huge range of organisations that are using football in the UK and globally for positive social outcomes. So then we had the idea of actually having an event which celebrates that, and celebrates that in a really exciting way. So we booked a venue in London. We've got sponsors lined up, or some sponsors lined up. We've got support from the Professional Footballers Association to launch this. And Tilney Best Invest came in as our first sponsor, which was great because it got the ball rolling, and that gave us the confidence to go out and seek other sponsors. And I think the idea behind the event is that football club community groups, football players, organisations around the world who are using football in whatever way to highlight things like HIV/AIDS, to highlight things like youth unemployment, whether it's homophobia, racism, male suicide. There's a huge range of things which which people campaign on using football as a vehicle. So this event will actually be looking at all the different ways in which football does great things, often very unsung, very uncelebrated in the community here in the UK and globally, on an exciting platform in London. Be a good night out as well. So we just thought this would be a great opportunity to celebrate our 10th anniversary in style.
Always a good night out with Jane. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've got some information on the chairs. There you go. So do have a flick through that. Adam, you're obviously, as Jane said, the first partner to come on board. So thank you. Well done. But how does this fit with your business objectives as Tilney? You know, it's not your direct business, or how does it work?
It's not my direct business. It's a big business, and when I joined the business, I brought the sport and entertainment division along, and my client bank are predominantly footballers. So, you know, a big part of my job is to make sure that my clients are looked after, so that when they finish playing football, you know, they've got financial independence, and a lot of what they want to do after football, especially with some of the African clients that I've got, are involved in foundations or setting up their own foundations or schools and charity work, you know, back in their native countries. So it was quite a good fit for me, because I like to help footballers, make sure they look after their money, make sure they're sensible, make sure they can still live their life when they stop playing, and this is also another, you know, good link in.
Good stuff. Quite a challenge. Still there. Quite a challenge. As every day, I guess you're looking for different ways to position the players and advise them. So it seems like a good forum from everything we heard. Jane, just back to you. Maybe you can fill in for those who haven't heard of Coaching for Hope, just a little more about the work that you do in the organisation.
Okay, well, Coaching for Hope started 10 years ago. That's my 10th anniversary. And with the idea behind it being we wanted to train coaches who could work with young people. And the idea for that came about because I worked for an organisation called International Service, which sent volunteers to Africa. And we were working with lots of youth organisations and children's organisations, mainly street kids, orphanages, etc. And we had a parliament of all these organisations in 5 West African countries about what children from as young as 5 to 18 wanted from their lives. And one of the outcomes of that was there was a huge demand for access to sport, in particular football. And the reason why young people couldn't get access to that sport was they didn't have any coaches. So we thought the idea of Coaching for Hope was then born. We thought if we could train coaches using English football coaches from English clubs, how to coach, and then ally that with a kind of educational dimension, then we'd have a really interesting project. And it started off in Burkina Faso in 2005 with 3 coaches from Hull City, 2 from QPR, 2 from Brighton, going out doing a 1-week course on football coaching, and then allying that to awareness of HIV/AIDS, because obviously that's a massive problem in Africa. And we wanted to use football as a vehicle for raising awareness on HIV. And since that particular course, it's just grown. So now we have over 2,000 coaches who've been trained, working in 8 different countries, now covering themes like gender violence, disability rights, malaria prevention, substance misuse, all through the vehicle of football. And we do that through active sessions on the pitch, which give people a chance to learn actively and to participate, and not to feel that they're in a classroom setting where maybe their opinions will be ridiculed, or whether their lack of information might be seen as ignorance. So we're finding that as a vehicle for education, football is a really superb way of doing this with young people who may not even be going to school, maybe illiterate, maybe kind of cast out from their family homes, etc. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing globally. It's been a huge learning curve. We've learned a hell of a lot from our local partners, from other organisations in the sector. We're constantly learning and constantly seeking to learn more, which is why partnerships to us are really critical, both with corporates like Best Invest and also with partners on the ground who show us the way to go and who to work with.
Thank you. I was going to come on to that next actually as well, and that's something that really strikes me about the sector. We're talking about football for good in general. In this zone alone, we've got the Street League, we've got Kick for Life and yourselves, for example, and UNICEF, all doing a range of different subject matter through football. They're using football as the tool to educate. And that's something I'm sure you'll see now you're involved. You're not going to escape. The one thing that's really great is the partnership work. It's about sharing ideas and working together. And I guess that maybe was part of the motive, as well as celebrating and having a party after 10 years of great work, but bringing people together. Did you not feel there was, how is this different to other awards? That's my next point. There are a number of awards, and there's a number of exhibitions around the world in this space and in many other spaces. How do you define this going forward, and how different is it going to be?
Well, I think, and you're right, there are lots of award ceremonies, and people might get a bit of award fatigue sometimes, but I think the reason why we thought we could organise this event is that there is no other awards event which focuses on the good things done by football. And we really wanted to highlight the fantastic work done by using the sport. So we're not going to be looking at, the goal of a season, or looking at the best manager, or all of the other things which other award ceremonies do so well. We're going to focus on things like the Best Disability Rights Project. How do we know that we're empowering disabled young people through all the different kinds of projects which are run by clubs like Everton, Spurs, etc., and organisations around the world who are using football? We wanted to focus on issues around the champion of the women's game. How do we involve women and girls? And we found through our work in West Africa, for example, we had a comic relief project working with young miners, and one of the outcomes of that project was that the girls involved in that project had an increase in their measured self-esteem of 50%, and then more of them are going to school as a result. So the impact of using football in a whole range of different environments and audiences and target groups is very impressive when it's highlighted in a way like we hope to do at the awards. So in a way, we do feel this is a unique event. It's the first of its kind, and we really hope that people from SoccerX will be turning up to this event and supporting it and finding out a lot about what's going on using football right across the globe.
Thank you. And I think a round of applause for Jane, because she's done some fantastic work in this sector over a number of years, and many more to come. The award that you're sponsoring an award, right?
Yeah.
Which one is this?
The Player Impact Award.
And so there's 8 awards in total. And in terms of player impact and the players that you work with or have worked with over the years, any shining examples that you think are going to come forward? Do you think there's any nominations that might come through your network as well?
I don't think they're going to come through my network. I think most of my clients are still playing. And actually, a lot of the work that they're doing at the minute is quite unstated, so they don't broadcast it sort of too much. They go about their business in a quieter way, and then when they finish playing football, they make a bit more of an ordeal about it. So, but one of the reasons we wanted to sponsor this award is because it's linked into what people are doing potentially with the clubs within the community after football as well. And actually, the event is quite an exciting event to be involved in as well.
Fantastic, and it's good to hear. Actually, leads on to the next and final session here later on, that footballers do care, and I think it's another opportunity to shout about that and give examples of how and where they do have an impact. Okay, we're going to summarise up a little bit now. I want to look forward another 10 years. Where's Coaching for Hope going to be? What's the plans for this event if it all goes well? How can people get involved in this event? And what do you see happening for Coaching for Hope?
Okay, well, I think the next 10 years, obviously, one of the things we've learned over the past 10 years is that there's a huge amount of demand for the kind of thing that we do, whether it's training coaches in groups from other organisations. We've worked with Grassroots Soccer, we've worked with Right to Play, we've worked with organisations who have asked us to do specific aspects of work around disability, for example, and I think we're quite keen to increase the amount of work we do around that. We've also started working in India and Nepal, again, with a huge population of young people who are, although obviously cricket is their main sport, soccer or football is becoming very big there. And again, it gives us access to massive amounts of young people who just need a ball. And that's the beauty of football, you just need a ball. And I think our sort of plans for the future are to just continue where we're working at the moment, to respond to the demands that we receive, and hopefully expand the work that we can do globally, and including in the UK. And I think for the event, because it's the inaugural event and we're hoping it's going to be a massive success, we haven't actually made specific plans to run it every year. It might be every 2 years. We were talking to Street Football World about making it a second one in the USA or somewhere outside of the UK. So it's got lots of potential for development. So I would just suggest people really try and get to the first one. It's going to be a brilliant night. We're going to have an after-show party of Fatboy Slim in the very exciting cellar part of the Billingsgate Vaults. We're going to have a number of people from the football industry there. We're going to have sort of thank you sessions to all of our key supporters with videos. So it's going to be a really good networking opportunity. It's also December, so it could be your staff Christmas party. So, you know, you could use it as an opportunity to treat yourself and treat your colleagues to a really good night out. So I can recommend it very highly. And the benefit, the kind of package we managed to negotiate with Billingsgate Vaults means that from the minute you arrive from 7 to 11:30, all the drinks are free. So it's kind of a really good party atmosphere, hopefully, by the time you've reached 11:30 and go to the after-show party. There'll be wonderful food, great company, and I think it will be hopefully a very inspiring night, because we want to really inspire people with looking at these fantastic projects around the world and in the UK, which are carried out using football.
No one drinks here at SoccerX, so that's not okay. Thank you very much, Jane. So again, there's plenty of opportunity to get involved, and please nominate people for these awards as well. There's 8 great categories, all in the leaflets on the chairs there. So please have a flick through, and you can contact Jane and the team at Coaching for Hope at any time about that. Thank you again. One final summary for me is this whole topic again around football for good is consistent. There's a number of big players getting into this scene now. And you mentioned Street Football World a few times there, who are the kind of governing network body, bringing all of these charities together in many ways. There's a website that they're launching, it's live at the moment, called unleashfootball.com. And what we want to do on there is drive a conversation about ideas for change, and how anyone can put forward their feelings and thoughts about different ways that football can be used as a tool for social good. So do check that out. Do come along to the awards and network, and be a part of this amazing community. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you both.
Time for questions?
We good?
Any time for questions?
Oh yeah, questions will be good. We have plenty of time. Does anyone have any questions for Jane or for Adam, or dare I say myself? Yes, gentleman at the back. Oh, okay.
This is a question for Adam, really. I've worked in football for many years, and I think within England, especially within the Premier League, the clubs don't do enough to speak to the players about what charitable work they want to do, because everything is focused obviously around winning matches and commercial responsibilities. So how would you say people can kind of leverage that support? Is it through agents and financial planners and other people? Because at the moment it's very difficult for players to get supported to do that through their own clubs.
I think the first thing there needs to be the desire from the player to want to do it, rather than them to have to actually be forced into it. I think with the increased number of, this is maybe one advantage of having a lot of foreign footballers in England now, is actually a lot of the foreign footballers are much more caring, because some of them come to the UK from much underprivileged countries, so they're doing much more. So I think, word spreads, especially with the African footballers or with South American footballers as well. They're much more aware of where they've come from, the upbringings that they've come from. So I think more from their teammates and the desire to want to do it themselves. Most of the clubs have certain things that the players have to do, but you don't want to be contracted to be forced to go and see people in hospital, which is great, but you want to be able to do it off your own back.
And I think that's my point, that's the point really, is that I've never witnessed anyone in a club going up to the players and saying, is there something you're passionate about? Is there something we as a club can support you? I've worked in rugby as well, and I had a rugby player who I was working with whose dad was in a wheelchair, and he ended up giving up a huge amount of his time to support the Wheelchair Rugby Initiative. That's only because he was asked, and I don't think the clubs are switched on to doing that.
Interesting. I'm a Spurs fan, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but and after there were the riots, actually their left back, MFUcO, who actually has got quite a bad reputation because he's openly come out and said, well, I don't love football, I just do it as my job. But he was huge in the community off his own back with helping out after all of that, and none of that was sort of publicised at all. He was really prominent in the area. He used to go and get his hair cut by certain barbers and stuff like that, all locally. The clubs can do more, but they have their own agendas to win football matches.
Exactly. I think sometimes football players just don't get the recognition, because often they would want to do it, but they don't get the opportunity.
I agree. I agree. I think we were talking about it before. There's a perception that that they don't care and so on, and it's not actually true. Actually, most of them are quite young, shy guys.
Thank you.
Could I just add to that, because 2 years ago the Premier League and the PFA combined to take a scholar from each Premiership club out to South Africa to see our projects, and the idea behind that was to educate players at a very critical stage of their career when they're only 18 about what football can do in poor communities. And that was actually, for those young guys, a real life-changing experience, and many of them have stayed in contact with us. Some of them have raised thousands of pounds for us, and I think it's just because that was put in front of them at a stage when they were just getting off the ground with their career. It really made a difference, and I'm hoping that that'll happen again next year. And I think if more clubs and more football organisations were proactive in that respect, this would definitely happen. I'm sure you're right.
I think that would be better with the first team players, if they rather than the younger guys, because they're the ones that can make more of an impact.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, my question goes to Coaching for Hope, the lady right there. How many African countries are you dealing with now? And if at the top of your head you can mention them, I just want to be sure if...
Yeah, sure. We're working in Burkina Faso, Mali, Ivory Coast, Lesotho, Botswana, and South Africa at the moment.
Okay.
We've done some work in Ghana with Right to Dream. I don't know if you know, if you're from Ghana.
Yeah, I'm from Ghana.
Yeah.
I know Right to Dream.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Any more questions? Anything else you would like to touch upon?
No, just thanks very much for coming, and thanks Soccerettes for giving us this space. And like I said before, do come along to the event. Okay.
Thank you. Let's keep the discussions going afterwards. Thank you, everyone.